your name.
And everybody, welcome to Off Day with Ballpark Nation, your home for all kinds of fun stuff. Andy, there wasn't a whole lot of fun to be had in downtown
Fun?
Houston.
I mean, you started off with the upbeat version of that song, and I don't know if that's appropriate.
That's a gym mistake we've got to rectify. I didn't like the overly synthesized, jazzy version of that.
What it sounds like is there used to be this set of CDs that was popular, I guess, at some point for weird people like me, that were it's all TV themes, but none of them were done by the original artists. So it was like Kids Bop of TV themes.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and that is what it sounds like, and we've got to get that rectified. Andy, there's still some time to get the baseball team rectified, I think.
Are they interested in it?
Oh,
I mean, I hate to be one of those guys that says they're not trying and they folded it in and they're just playing out the string. But God, that's what it looked like all weekend.
It really did, and it was just incredibly disappointing, particularly coming off of the Rangers doing to the Rangers what the Mariners did to us. Like, it felt like, and that's just been this team all year. It's felt like the Astros had a turn and took a step back. And I'm going to start with a couple of things. The Mariners are not light years better than the Astros, and that narrative needs to stop. They are exactly 3 games better, and the Astros were 1 pitch in each of those games away from winning. So let's stop that off the bat.
I mean, I saw this weekend a little bit differently. I saw a Mariners team who came in, got early leads, and did what they needed to do as the road team in a must-win series, and the Astros just didn't. But I don't think you look at one series to determine who was better over the course of a season or who's the better team or anything. The Mariners are as flawed as the Astros. The things they have going for them is health. And that's not an excuse, but it is a reality.
That's
true.
It's
a different team when Yordan Alvarez is in the lineup. And as we say every year, the team that is hottest going into the postseason is the team that's going to win. Seattle's the hottest team in baseball right now, maybe with the exception of Cincinnati. And who would have thought we'd be saying that at this point this year? But Seattle's playing well when they need to play well. And my hat's off to them, even though their online fan base is a bunch of assholes.
Well, their real-life fan base is a bunch of assholes, too. Maybe I'll recount that story later for why I hate them so much, but I do. No, the Astros still have everything to play for. But let's look a little bit at, Friday night you can put that loss squarely on the offense.
Sure. 3 hits.
3 hits. Solo home runs should not beat you. And that's exactly what did beat you. That's the old adage. So solo home runs don't beat you. So that is what happened on Friday night. Saturday night, I think I told you and maybe somebody else, and I'll be honest, we got the kind of tickets to go to see a game at DKR, which if I would have known where they were, I would have turned them down. We were on top of the stadium. I felt like I needed a Sherpa to find my seat. So I was in a bad mood already. Plus I was pretty drunk. So I was also in a weird mood. So I think when I told
climbing high heights while you're drunk is always a good idea.
And my knees are on fire. It was a whole thing. But I think at one point I said that Framber Valdez can suck my Polish sausage. And I still feel that way. So yay. I don't understand that guy. I don't understand, it's in some ways, Andy, it's a macro view of his whole career, though, where, outside of a couple of outlier years, he's had an issue where when pressure gets too high or issues go in his favor, he melts down. Is there any more on brand than melting down the last 6 weeks of a contract year?
You can look at Framber one of 2 ways. Framber's the greatest development story that the pitching lab has had. He is not a guy that was on anybody's prospect list. He was not a guy that was on anybody's big international signings list. He signed, 4 years after most guys in his situation would have signed with a major league farm system or development system. And he literally kind of came out of nowhere through all that and pitched as well as you could expect. The problem with Fromber, like you just mentioned, is that he could never get out of his own way. And there used to be this thing around the Astros prior to the World Series years where there was this thing called the Oswalt inning. Murray Oswalt was a great pitcher for the Astros, but one inning he was always going to give up a couple runs because that's just who he was. And you could just count on it. Didn't know when it was going to come, but it was going to come. Fromber became that guy that's you could count on at least one meltdown per game, and you just hoped it wasn't too big. And the 1 year, maybe 2 years that he really got away from that were 22 and 23 for the most part. But every other season has been this just holding your breath and deciding if it's good Fromber today or bad Fromber today. And for the last 3 months of this season, it's been nothing but bad Fromber. And he's revealed himself, unfortunately, to be a kind of a shitty teammate. And I don't know if that's been there all along or that's a response to how he's been performing. But from publicly questioning the defensive alignment to talking about how bad the offense has been to nailing your catcher. You didn't like a pitch he called, and you had just given up a home run.
Or for blaming when he didn't back up home plate, saying it's not his fault the outfielder can't throw.
Yeah, I mean, I am happy that he will be somebody else's problem next year. I still want to give him a qualifying offer, and we are at that point of the season where we're talking about next year. I know there's still 6 games, and we're probably going to back into a playoff spot, but he can go. We can get a draft pick for him. Somebody's going to give him too much money. I was looking at free agent contracts last year. He's probably, even with this meltdown, even with the clubhouse stuff that the Astros have been trying desperately to hide for the last few years, becoming more public, probably still going to get something in the Kikuchi range of 3 years, $63 million. And good for him and his family. He can buy all the extensions and gold chains that he wants to. Literally, it's his first big arbitration year, he got extensions. That's what he spends money on.
Yeah.
Rasa, whatever. But I'm happy that he's going to be somebody else's problem. I just hope it's something on a really large scale, like the Yankees, where they're really, really paying for it.
Yeah. I'm done with him. And, it's funny to me because, I don't like the term back into the playoffs because you either get in or you don't. People are like, oh, the Astros don't deserve to make the playoffs. Well, we'll know in 6 games because that's how baseball works. And you either do deserve it or you don't. And they have a glide path to get there. In many ways, they do control their own destiny because of how close they are to both Detroit and Cleveland, and those 2 teams play each other. So I think if the Astros win 4 of 6, which will get them to 88 wins, then they'll make playoffs. And I will be excited because, for me, and I think for you, bad baseball is better than no baseball, in my opinion. So
the back end of the playoffs is not so much you lucked into it as it is you'd like to be playing at a certain level when you get there. And I think the Astros have not, outside of sweeping the Rangers and taking 2 of 3 from the Braves before the Braves went on a little tear, they just haven't played well. They haven't played well since the 1st of July. Some of that can be tied directly to Isaac Paredes going out. We're all excited to get him back. I think he went 1 for 12 this weekend, something in that neighborhood.
Oh, no, he had at least 2 because he had the home run.
But, I mean, you struggle when the guys you expect to provide the power have been out. And Jordan's been out most of the season. Isaac's been out half the year, just about. And Walker is our team leader in RBI with less than 90, which is just weird.
Yeah, he can go with Fromber too.
Well, I think he will because I think the Astros, we're going to talk about this a lot once the season's over, but the Astros have a really weird roster that they've got to figure out for next year.
Yeah. I do keep coming back to the idea, though, that, you probably will have Jordan and Hader back on the team for the playoffs. Now, I don't know how effective that makes them, and like lining up, you're probably going to be playing. I guess you'd probably be playing Seattle, so that wouldn't be great. No, I guess Seattle probably slides into the 2 spot. So you're probably playing Detroit or Cleveland if you do end up getting in. So I like that matchup.
I don't know which Astros team is going to show up, and I'm not trying to be dismissive. Any team that gets in the playoffs can certainly go on a tear. We saw it with the Rangers 2 years ago. I am glad that anything's happening. At least we're not Arlington. But
yeah, to see Rangers fans talking shit about us like this week over the weekend. Again, it's the part about sports fandom. It's like when I had Aggie baseball fans talking shit about us. Like, you lost worse. Like you're a loser. The Rangers are effectively eliminated.
At least you won't have to listen to Texans fans this year. They're not going to talk at all.
Oh, I don't know about that.
They're
I've
too
already
busy.
seen lots of, at least we're not the Cowboys.
They're too busy Harry carrying right now.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, they're not a very logical football fan base anyway, in my opinion. I don't think you should never win a championship and make fun of a team that's celebrating one that's 30 years old.
AFC,
one 30 years ago, Andy, is better than one never.
Hey, we're back-to-back AFC South division something or other. I'm not for sure. I know I do not have a T-shirt that represents it. So, and that was something I was thinking about the other day. I guess if we make the wild card, there'll be another October-ready type of T-shirt.
Which I don't buy.
I've got a stack, but it feels like I might be to the point where I can go ahead and get that quilt made. Like I'm not going to be adding shirts to it anytime soon.
Oh, well, I mean, but see, I don't know about that either. Like, I'm not ready to call this thing over because of all the injuries. Like next year, if everybody's healthy, that's already a pretty good looking lineup to roll out there that you're going to be able, like having a healthy Jordan, a healthy Correa, Altuve, a healthy Pena, and Jake Myers. That's a pretty good 5 to build on.
Which of those guys are still going to be here? I don't know. I mean, hopefully all of them. They should be. Myers might be on the trading block.
I think Myers stays. I think Diaz is gone and Walker is gone. And I think Paredes is your first baseman.
It'll be very interesting. But we have many shows to talk about.
We do have plenty. Yeah, because there's still baseball.
We get there.
They're going to the playoffs. Hey, so we saw the continuing lack of logic when it comes to college football media, where a couple of things happened. One, Arch Manning gets tackled by a Sam Houston State player. About 3 players later, Arch Manning runs over same player to score a touchdown and barks at him a little bit. And then members of another fan base in the state start tweeting out how classless Arch Manning is, despite people pulling the receipts of Johnny Manziel running over a player from the same school and barking at the same player and saying, well, it's okay because Manziel was better than Arch. Why can't we just have logical conversations and decide either a behavior is crass and shitty or it's not?
What country do you live in?
I know.
That's not what we do anymore or ever. I'm not sure. It is what it is. Arch has had a rough start to his season. If he had a good game on Saturday, which he did, celebrate it. I don't care if he wants to stand over a guy, especially a guy, frankly, who took kind of a cheap shot and did the exact same thing to him a few plays prior to all that. So it wasn't just out of the blue. I think in a perfect world, you would like to think that a school like the University of Texas and a player of the stature of Arch Manning would just take their wins and show all the class that we think Ronald Reagan showed when he played for Notre Dame. That's the thing, right? I get history and film mixed up.
For a second, I was like, whoa, did he really actually play for Notre Dame too? That's cool.
He did, and he died. But then he came back on the 3rd day and became president.
It became our president.
With a monkey.
In a party that would not recognize him today, and he'd be a Democrat.
But they're also 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old kids who, yes, get paid and whatever you want to attach to that, who are going to show emotion. And I think that's what makes college football, frankly, better than the NFL is that they are kids. They do show emotion. They do get pumped up for an individual good performance. They aren't expected to just hand the ball to the umpire or referee and say, "Here, I'm going to walk away and say a prayer quietly on the bench to myself." Be showboats, have fun, enjoy yourself. Give the home crowd something to cheer about because, frankly, it's been a little bit touch and go for your fan base so far this year. You had the very close loss in Ohio State that didn't look good, and you had two not exciting wins. Run up the score. Look at your backup quarterback. That's what these games are for. It gets real in 2 weeks, kind of, because you're playing Florida. I don't know.
Yeah, which is nuts.
I don't know that. I don't know how many games has Florida played. 3. They won't have fired Napier by then because they'll wait to the 5th game to fire him. But I can't imagine.
Yeah, although I'm shocked they don't fire him over the bye because they have a bye like we do. Seems like you should fire him today.
But you handcuff the players a little bit more by removing the red shirt opportunity. I mean, that's something UCLA screwed the pooch on that because.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So you're saying the university is going to not want to lose their players, so they're going to wait till 5 games. Wow.
If I invested NIL money, I mean, boosters.
Oh, you're right. Then.
If I invested in NIL money, I'm not firing anybody till that 5th game is played. Because if those players have only played 4 games, they can redshirt and be immediately eligible in the spring for another school.
That's a good point. And you're right. That is the downside. Now you've taken money. You should therefore have a contract. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. And I think they will work all this out, but that is the idea of you can't have things both ways. You want to be treated like professionals. Well, that's how professionals are treated. You have a contract. Yeah. You will fill your contract.
Either way, I think Napier, he's dead man walking. I know people were saying that last year as well, and they managed to hang on, but I don't see any way, based on what I saw with Florida against Miami, that y'all are going to have much problem with them.
Yeah, here's hoping not. And so let's talk a little bit about Auburn and USC. I'm sorry, Auburn and OU. Auburn essentially was told directly by the SEC officiating that they lost by 7 points that never should have happened. To me, it's almost like, what's the point of actually saying that? Like, to me, it's not like you're going to go back and fix it. But Auburn, I think, showed everybody that OU is not as dominant a football team as everybody thought based on them beating a pretty bad Michigan team.
I think it's interesting because the SEC football officiating is pretty bad. I would say of the Power 3 or 2 or 4 or whatever we're calling them this year, that they have the worst overall officiating in any major conference, any minor conference too. Frankly, it's embarrassing for them to actually issue an apology. Means that the screw-up was so egregious that it's going to affect a lot of things beyond just a win. It affects money for Auburn. It affects bowl positioning. It affects, potentially a chance for the playoffs. And I don't think Auburn's that good a team. I'm saying that full well who A&M is playing Saturday at 2:30. And it would be such an A&M thing to pull out a miracle win in South Bend and turn around and lose inexplicably to Auburn at home. But talk about that in a minute. I would like to think it's an acknowledgement by the league that they recognize they have an officiating problem, and the only way to get those officials to be better at their jobs is to start holding them publicly accountable. I mean, the real way to do that is to keep them from officiating games, but I think that's easier said than done because you have to find replacements and all that kind of fun stuff.
You have to start paying them.
But I watched the Auburn OU game, and it was everything that happened in a way that allowed OU to win that game. Missed pass interference calls, the illegal play that we're talking about right now, a number of other things that just weren't called.
The pass interference you're talking about was the most textbook pass interference I've ever seen. Like literally, he was tackled before in fact, there was one as well, Andy, where They missed two PIs on the same.
The referee was looking the other direction. He's the backfield up and was looking the other direction.
They had another play. They had a play earlier in the game where there were two pass interference on the same play, because not only was the receiver being physically contacted with, but another defender was cutting off his route to the ball, which is also pass interference. Like, you're right. It's fixed. It's rigged.
But I don't know why you'd fix it for OU. I think it is just general incompetence. Nobody in the SEC likes Oklahoma. And frankly, Oklahoma doesn't like Oklahoma. Oklahoma's mom might like Oklahoma, but that's biology.
That's it. Yeah, right.
They are a school that most of us just hope go the way of Arkansas, because if they can't play in Texas more than once a year, they can't recruit. And that will ultimately be the death knell for that program, where they'll become a consistent 8-5 type team. I think they're playing a little bit above their skis. They've had a whole lot of luck. I don't think Auburn is that good. So Mateer, having the game-winning touchdown, great, but that looked like two middleweight teams kind of just feeling each other out, and whoever made the least amount of mistakes was going to win. Certainly aided by really bad officiating towards OU.
It would be really nice to see Texas kick the shit out of them in Dallas. That'll be pretty sweet. All right, what are you thinking about A&M at Auburn as we get closer into game week? A&M had the bye; they had a chance to get some people healthy. They've had Auburn did play a pretty draining, emotional game, and Auburn is going to Kyle Field, correct?
Yes, it is a home game. We have a very weird schedule this year where we have like 3 conference home games in a row, but then we play 3 conference road games in October and November. So in a row, which is, I guess it's going to happen to everybody at some point. If A&M can stop Cam Coleman, who is the be-all, end-all receiver for Auburn, they should win the game, because Auburn doesn't do anything else appreciably well. They're okay. I think defensively they're better than they were last year, but this is also a team that gave up I think 28-point comeback to A&M at some point at their home stadium last year, and I don't know that they have appreciably more talent defensively. They just kind of A&M played down to them. I don't see that happening this year, but I also picked A&M to go 6-6. I did not have them beating Notre Dame in South Bend, so we've got to pick up another loss somewhere. And it would be a very, very A&M thing to do, to turn around and kill whatever momentum you've just built up with your 3-0 start. So I am dubious about A&M's chances this week, but I'll think more about it before our Friday show.
Yeah, before our Friday show. Yeah. Okay, so the Astros do have the off day today, and then they finish against 6 games against 2 very bad teams, both of whom that have given up. The A's still seem like they're playing kind of hard. The Angels have fully checked in. What do you think the Astros have to go to be able to get that playoff spot?
I want to say 4-2. 500 might get it, but I think 4-2 is what they would have to do to feel comfortable about traveling somewhere Sunday night or Monday morning, besides Houston. It's just so hard based on – I want to be positive about this. Again, more baseball. We've got 6 more games at least. Anything can happen if you get in the playoffs. But this team, frankly, if we go today without putting anybody on the IL, that'll be the first time in 4 days we haven't put anybody on the IL. That's kind of a record. I don't know if we keep the zero days since workplace injury signs up in the Astros clubhouse, but that's been a digital counter instead of just hanging the number, because it's just easier that way. So I don't know what to expect from this team. The A's kind of infamously swept us at home in August. The A's, I think, have 7-3 in their last 10, so they appear to still be trying. The Angels have all but given up, so I feel better about that series in Anaheim to close out the year. But I would love it if you won these two series. I think that makes things a whole lot easier on everybody involved. But this team has to show up and start hitting the ball consistently.
Hey, they could win all 6 and end up with 90 wins.
They could. And there is this world where Bob Nightingale has already declared Seattle to have won the division. And he did that out loud on Twitter and Blue Sky. So that might be the ultimate jinx. And there would be nothing funnier than watching the Astros win 6 in a row and the Mariners lose all the rest of their games.
There's something also to be said by the fact that it's entirely possible for the Rangers to have a losing record.
Which they should. I mean, they'd be used to that. That's been like of their 65, 70 seasons, it's like 50 of them have been losing seasons.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I agree. I think if they go 4-2, because I just don't, because of because of Detroit and Cleveland playing each other, someone's going to win that series, which means one of those teams has 2 losses. So even though we're all effectively tied with them and they have the tiebreaker, if the Astros handle their business, they should. Like I'm still looking at this going, it's really the Astros to lose, not necessarily, the Astros, then they need a ton of help.
Oh, and the Fangraph, honestly, if I remember right, Fangraph's chance for the Astros to make the playoffs actually went up yesterday, even after the loss.
Yeah.
So it recognizes the fact that the Guardians and the Tigers are going to beat up on each other at some point this week, and that should help the Astros. If they win, the Astros just win games, they'll be fine. There's no situation where if they win both these series that they won't make the playoffs. I think if I've done the math right on that. I want to see something aggressive. If that means, throwing at Nick Kurtz's head the second we get in Sacramento on Tuesday or Monday, I'm okay with that. It doesn't even need to be in the ballpark. I mean, if you see him in the parking lot or at a Starbucks or something, just throw at his head.
Detroit, Andy, AJ Hinch, man, does this put him on the hot seat? I mean, it's not getting any easier for them because their last 6 games, 3 against Cleveland and then 3 against Boston, which is also very good and also fighting for a playoff spot. Although it should be noted that Boston has the hardest schedule remaining of this in baseball this season. So again, that's another team the Astros actually could pass to end up getting into the playoffs.
And there's a reason Fangraphs still has us over 65% chance to get in the playoffs. The Astros have to take care of their business. I mean, we can scoreboard watch. We will scoreboard watch. If they don't win games, it doesn't matter. They can't afford a series loss, I think, in Oakland, Sacramento, Las Vegas, Philadelphia, Kansas City. Did I miss any? It's hard to keep track. The elephant team. They need to beat the elephant team. They need to be the better team on the field in Sacramento. They need to take advantage of playing in that ridiculous AAA park the way they did the last time they were there, and they need to take at least 2 or 3. It'd be really good if they won the first one because I think that's mentally an easier path for them than trying to win the last 2 of a series. Certainly possible, not a big deal, but win the first one, take a little bit of that monkey off your back, get the taste of Seattle series out of your mouth, and then just win some baseball games.
Let me ask you this, man. Is there a universe at all where you skip Fromber in the rotation?
I mean, Saturday night I was ready to Wade Miley, Fromber Valdez, who had a great, 2019 for us, and then got promptly left off the playoff roster because he started sucking in September. Fromber sucked longer than September. He's sucked since the middle of July. I don't think the Astros, unfortunately for me, I'm not trying to be punitive. I don't think they have enough pitching depth, just arms, period, to leave him off the roster. But like we talked about on our last show, and something Espada just didn't do quick enough, he's got to have the shortest leash in history because once he gives up the first run, he's going to give up 3 more.
Yeah.
And Joe Espada has got to realize that. And that's something that we're going to end up talking about because I think we've hinted at things we've heard around the organization about losing the clubhouse and the team looking unmotivated. And a lot of that falls down to the manager, because that is the job of a major league manager in 2025. It's not defensive positioning. It's not really choosing when to pinch hit or pull a pitcher. It really is keeping the clubhouse happy and copacetic. It's something that Dusty Baker was really, really good at and got no credit for doing, because our fan base doesn't know their ass from a hole in the ground 90% of the time.
Except for those of you who are listening.
Yeah, you guys are obviously exceptional.
You guys are smart and handsome.
Smart people. But Espada is struggling. I think it's no secret that he thinks he's managing for his job. And I think there's enough rumblings around this club to make me think that if somehow the Astros don't make the playoffs, and if they even do and get swept, I think Joe Espada is on the chopping block. And that's not me wanting Joe Espada fired. That's different, because this isn't a vengeance thing. This is me expecting Jim Crane to believe that this team should be winning the division every year and be in contention for one of the top 2 seeds in the league and be a playoff team that has a long run every year. Financially, that's how his model works. And Joe Espada not being that guy. He hasn't won a playoff game. This is his second year. We'll see if he does that this year. He's not going to win the division, most likely. There's some things working against him, and you can't rely on trading for Carlos Correa in August to fix your clubhouse problem.
I agree completely. I think that Jim Crane, not just because I think he likes to win, but also because we've talked about a bunch, he's got real estate interests in keeping Astros fandom engaged, and he needs to win to do that. And that's exactly the kind of owner you need. That's the kind of owner that you want. You don't want an owner like the Pirates, and you don't want an owner like the Cowboys, where they don't have to do anything to still make all the money. But you also can't fire the players, but you can fire the manager. And that's the thing.
And I think if it's a manager change, I don't know who in the coaching staff is safe. You'd like to think our pitching coaches would be okay, but a new manager may come in, especially if it's a veteran guy, and want his guys. So we could be looking at a potentially entirely new on-field management team next season. A lot has to happen between now and then. Crane has to make that call, but I think those discussions are being had.
Yeah, I think you can pretty much count on a new hitting staff, and you can definitely count on a new and doing some kind of evaluation of the medical staff. But I tend to agree. Even if the Astros do make the playoffs but end up losing in the first round, I do not expect Joe Espada to return as the manager.
Yeah, and again, it's not punitive. I don't think either of us have any animus towards Joe Espada. No. He's not. I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't think he's necessarily even a bad manager. He's just a really inexperienced manager. And I don't know, as you said a couple of shows ago, that the Astros are a on-the-job training kind of position at this point in our franchise. It was in 2012. Sure, Bo Porter can be your manager when you're the worst team in the league because nobody cares. This team has expectations. Our fan base has expectations. Jim Crane has financial expectations of the team performing beyond the baseball village that he wants to build on the other side of Texas. He sells more tickets if he's giving away stupid division rings and championship and World Series rings and pennant rings and T-shirt days and all that stuff. And if people stop coming or fewer people come, he has less money to spend. I'm going to guess, just as a pure capitalist, he didn't like that.
No, I'm going to guess that too. And this is what we should want as an ownership group. And I think that I'm waiting for our fan base to kind of catch up to that, and to I'm waiting for our fan base to become a little bit smarter about baseball and understand that these things don't happen every year, and that what you have seen is unprecedented for a reason. Any other fan base, any other fan base that knows baseball definitely refers to what the Astros are experiencing as A dynasty, and B, this will be a topic when we come back once we find out, once the season's over, we will discuss whether or not this season is a reflection of somehow the window being closed. I do not think it is, but we'll have this discussion. But either way, what Jim Crane has built here, and apologies to our former co-host who doesn't want to give him any credit at all. You can either blame the guy or give him credit, but you can't do one or the other. You either do both, can't do one or the other. What he has built here is a place that has expectations, and those expectations are not just to eke into the playoffs. They are to win. Mm-hmm. And that's what we should be expecting as fans. I'll give you the final word. Remember the old, we're like Hannity and Combs before Combs. Isn't Combs dead?
I mean,
I think he died.
Career-wise, at least.
I'm pretty sure he died. Anyway, very sad.
Oh, God, you're going to make me effort it. Did Combs die? Sean Puffy Combs is still alive.
Did liberal Combs die?
Yeah, I'm not going to type it again. I don't know if I have a final word on the Astros.
Yes, he did. He died in 2017, ironically enough.
I did have a realization, though, that when I was 15 years old, because, again, I've been rewatching all 8 seasons of Cheers. When I was 15 years old, I had probably a really inappropriate crush on not Bebe Neuwirth, but actually Lila Sternin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's still real at 54.
Oh, okay.
Especially every third episode, she'd have her hair down.
Yeah. Nice. That I think is as absolutely as good a way to go out as possible.
It's a very 80s crush, but I mean, it's still real.
We're going to go out, though, on a song that we usually only play when he pitches well, but I think we have to acknowledge the fact that Jason Alexander really actually has pitched over his skis. And yesterday was the kind of thing that probably should have happened 2 months ago.
Yeah, yesterday is the kind of thing that all of the analytics have been telling us was going to happen.
And it hasn't happened, and he's been doing yeoman's work. And the fact of the matter is, and it's because of injury, it's because of roster limitations, it's because of roster construction. Nothing happens in a vacuum. He has been the glue, and that never should have been the case.
I guess we do have to acknowledge that J.P. Crawford probably joins the Fernando Viñas of the world as just people who don't do anything against any other team except for the Astros.
Yeah.
Because how do you give up a grand slam?
Didn't he almost sign him too?
No, that was Polanco, who also hit a home run this weekend.
Yeah. Polanco seems to do well again.
There's a list of guys that Chris Davis, Fernando Viña, some others that just never appeared to do much, but our division opponents apparently just kept them on the roster to play us because they would always destroy us. J.P. Crawford somehow has to – maybe it's because our stadium's on the street that he's named after. I don't know.
Whatever it is, it's something. But we will send this one out to Jason Alexander because he's pitched well for us, and we're going to need him to pitch well again. So hopefully he shakes all of that off. For Andy, I'm Jim. This has been Off Day with Ballpark Nation. We'll be back Friday with a special guest because we're going to be talking to the women's volleyball coach from St. Edward's University. Since the Longhorns will have a bye, we'll be previewing Auburn. We'll be previewing Astros and Angels, but also get a chance to talk a little bit about what it's like to be a head coach in this whole thing that we call college sports in 2025. For Andy, I'm Jim. This has been Off Day.